My name is Sophia. I was 32 years old the night my family laughed at my job in front of 20 relatives gathered for my mother's birthday dinner. My younger sister Vanessa had just received another promotion at her corporate firm, and the entire evening seemed dedicated to celebrating her success. "Now that's a real career," my father said proudly. Everyone nodded. Then my mother looked at me. "And Sophia is still spending her days playing with dogs." Several people laughed. Vanessa smirked. "I mean, seriously, how hard can that be?" A few cousins joined in. I felt every eye at the table turn toward me. My father shook his head. "You were always smart. It's a shame you never used that potential." I forced a small smile and looked down at my plate. There was no point arguing. The one thing my family never bothered to ask was what I actually did at the adoption center. What none of them knew was that my work involved far more than feeding dogs or cleaning kennels. The truth sitting quietly behind that moment would eventually change everything. Welcome back to NonStop Revenge Stories. If you've ever been underestimated, ignored, or betrayed by the people closest to you, this story is for you. I stayed quiet for the rest of dinner. That wasn't unusual. Over the years, I had learned that defending myself only encouraged more criticism. My mother believed success was measured by status. My father judged people by job titles and salaries. Vanessa was the golden child because she worked in a corporate office and earned more money than I did. Meanwhile, I worked at a local adoption center. To them, that meant my career didn't matter. What happened after that dinner is why I'm finally telling this story today. 3 days later, I was sitting in my office reviewing records inside our blue adoption binder. The binder was one of the most important tools in the entire center. It contained years of rescue reports, adoption histories, rehabilitation plans, and emergency case records. I had spent countless hours helping build that system. Most people never saw that side of my work. Around noon, I heard frantic voices near the front entrance. Someone was shouting for help. I immediately stood up and hurried toward the lobby. The moment I arrived, my stomach dropped. My parents were standing there. Vanessa was beside them. And lying on a blanket between them was Buddy. Buddy had been our family dog for 14 years. He was old. Very old. His breathing was shallow. His body trembled with every breath. My mother was crying. My father looked terrified. "Dad," I said. He looked up. "Sophia." For a second, nobody knew what to say. Then our director, Mr. Reynolds, rushed into the lobby. He quickly examined Buddy. The expression on his face became serious. My father immediately stepped forward. "Please help him." Mr. Reynolds nodded. Then he turned toward me. "Sophia." "Yes. If anyone can help Buddy right now, it's you." The room fell silent. My family stared at him. Vanessa blinked. "What do you mean?" Mr. Reynolds didn't hesitate. "She's one of the most experienced people in this center. I trust her judgment completely." For the first time, I saw genuine confusion on my parents' faces. There wasn't time to explain. Buddy needed immediate attention. I checked his condition. I coordinated with our veterinary partners. I reviewed his medical history. I organized transportation. I made several emergency calls. Most importantly, I stayed calm. My mother stood beside me with tears streaming down her face. "Please save him." "We're doing everything we can," I told her. Hours passed. At one point, I honestly wasn't sure Buddy would make it. Watching my family panic while I used the very skills they had mocked for years felt strange. Not satisfying, just strange. Eventually, the veterinarian emerged with encouraging news. Buddy had stabilized. His condition was serious but treatable. The relief on my family's faces was immediate. My mother sat down and covered her face. My father let out a long breath. Vanessa looked stunned. For the first time in years, nobody made a joke about my job. Nobody called it playing with dogs. Nobody laughed. At the time, I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. That same evening, the adoption center hosted its annual community event. More than 20 volunteers, donors, adopters, and staff members attended. I almost skipped it because of how exhausting the day had been. But Mr. Reynolds insisted. You need to be there. The event began with the usual presentations. Success stories, volunteer recognition, community awards. Then Mr. Reynolds walked onto the stage carrying the blue adoption binder. Something about the look on his face caught my attention. Before I tell you how my family reacted when the director revealed the truth about my work, let me know what city you're watching NonStop Revenge Stories from. It still amazes me how many people connect with stories like this. The room gradually became quiet. Mr. Reynolds placed the blue adoption binder on the podium. Then he addressed the audience. Tonight I'd like to recognize someone whose work has transformed this center. My heart started beating faster. He opened the binder. These records document hundreds of successful rescues, rehabilitation cases, emergency interventions, and adoptions. He turned several pages. The person responsible for much of this work has never asked for recognition. The room remained silent. Everyone listened carefully. Mr. Reynolds continued. Over the last several years, this person has helped save hundreds of abandoned, injured, and neglected dogs. Another page turned. Families throughout this community have been reunited with beloved pets because of her dedication. Then he looked directly toward my family. And earlier today, she played a critical role in saving a senior dog named Buddy. My mother's eyes widened. Several people turned toward my parents. Mr. Reynolds smiled. That person is Sophia. The room erupted into applause. I froze. For years I had avoided attention. Now every eye in the room was on me. Mr. Reynolds motioned for me to come forward. I slowly walked onto the stage. My family watched in complete silence. Then Mr. Reynolds handed me the blue adoption binder. This binder tells a story most people never see. He paused. And tonight there's something else. He reached into a folder and removed an envelope. I had no idea what it contained. He handed it to me. I opened it carefully. Inside was an official promotion letter. For a moment I couldn't breathe. Mr. Reynolds smiled proudly. Effective immediately, Sophia has been promoted to Dog Adoption Center Manager. The audience stood and applauded. Some people cheered. Others smiled and nodded. I looked into the crowd. My father stared at me in disbelief. Vanessa looked speechless. My mother was crying. Not from fear this time, from realization. Years of assumptions had just collapsed in front of everyone. After the event ended, my family approached me. Nobody spoke at first. Finally, my father broke the silence. I didn't know. I nodded. I know. My mother wiped away tears. We were wrong. There were no excuses. No arguments. No attempts to rewrite the past. Just honesty. Vanessa shook her head. I guess I never understood what you actually did. I smiled gently. Most people don't. The truth remained undeniable. The career they mocked had helped save their beloved dog. The job they dismissed had earned the respect of an entire community. The work they laughed at had just earned me a promotion. Over time, our relationships changed. Not instantly. Not perfectly. But they changed. My parents became more respectful. Vanessa stopped comparing our careers. And I stopped looking for approval from people who had never taken the time to understand me. That was the biggest victory of all. Buddy recovered and spent many more happy months with my parents. Every time I visited, he greeted me with the same wagging tail. And every time I saw him, I remembered something important. People who underestimate your work are often the people who understand it the least. You do not need permission to know your worth.